School board shuts down that. What?
Citizens no longer know what to believe.
Normal position is not this mega party.
Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other.
Brittany Griner, she is in Russia. She's been there over 110 days. Now, how can she feel like America has her back? I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America?
In the possibility.
Okay, so I know actually about that situation. So I know about, okay, I weirdly know about this situation with this girl that LeBron's ignorantly talking about.
Brittany Griner, she is in Russia.
So I think it's Brittany Griner, right? There's an Olympic athlete stuck in Russia. She might be home at this point. I'm not really sure. Basically what happened is that she was caught with vape cartridges carrying cannabis oil, and it's illegal in Russia, so they detained her. It seems to be that the goal of the Russian government is to set this situation up for a political exchange. The Biden administration has basically already told her that she needs to plead guilty so that she becomes a prisoner, so that they can exchange her for whoever Russia wants them to exchange them for. That's the situation there. This is obviously a very uneasy time. There's really nothing that America can do, considering tensions are already up. There's nothing else we could do other than that, which I think is, you know, it is what it is. She shouldn't have been dumb in carrying weed oil where it was illegal. That's all. I mean, that's all I have to. You know, where it's illegal. I don't know why you would do that. You kind of put yourself in that situation. So yeah, America moment. So the only reason I say that is because they seem to be making this like an anti, like it's supposed, the way that they're framing it is it's supposed to speak negatively on like LeBron James. I mean, excuse me, on America from LeBron or like on Biden, but there's really nothing any president could do. It's during a wartime, so there's not a whole lot we could do.
She's been there over 110 days. Now, how can she feel like America has her back? I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America?
Where would you want to stay? In China, LeBron? Like, what do you think she wants to stay in Russia? Yeah, I'm sure that's probably the best place for her.
Possibility of truth. The game's won.
And somehow people presuppose that they would be grooming.
Stop you right there, sir. I'm going to stop you right there.
Today, my student pulled me aside to ask me if I was trans.
Alrighty then.
Okay.
And before we get to the parent who is told to zip it, there's a pro tip. If you bring something illegal to another country, they will arrest you. If you decide to bring your recreational devil's lettuce from California to Utah on a plane, you'll have issues. She knew the rules, she broke the law, and LeBron James has got some hubris after he shit on America for the last several years.
Today, my student pulled me aside to ask me if I was trans. I said yes, and almost immediately they said, so when I grow up, I can actually be a boy? Honestly, I'm just proud they could say it out loud, because that really...
Hold on a second, so you can take the testosterone cut off.
Listen, so like just in this situation, I don't think it's appropriate for, listen, I don't know. Conversation about genders, not... I don't think there's anything wrong with kids learning about trans people. I don't think we should go too far into it, I guess. But this doesn't really matter because a kid walked up to the teacher and asked the teacher a question. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, are you trans? Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's very different from the teacher just like pulling out a book and be like, hey, 4-year-olds, let's learn about the complex gender theory. Anybody can be anything, you know, and just go crazy with it rather than having like a nuanced conversation with like a 16-year-old. If your kid's saying that really I can be a boy when I get older or whatever, that means that they might actually be trans. Like I'm just saying. That's probably why they asked, because maybe they're feeling uncomfortable about their identification. I know a lot of people don't like this, but like every trans person in existence, like with gender dysphoria specifically, we'll stick to them. It's easier to talk about. They like knew that they were like trans when they were like 4, 5, 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, it's possible. Now, I don't think that this person should give them any resources. Yeah, all you have to do is this. You know, maybe just say yes and then kind of move on in the conversation. You shouldn't get too, you know, because the kid's still exploring themselves. You don't really want to direct the kid in any direction. You know, you kind of want to give them their space to kind of chill out a little bit.
The mammary glands, but the reality here is, in your brain, you still know you're a girl. And the men watching this, we all know who a man is. They come to a group setting and there's someone who doesn't fit in. You can smell it. So no matter what you do, whatever theater you want to put
smell it
on, you're still going to be the person you were born with. So I pity the person who thinks they're going to become a different gender.
That's like a whole conversation to have with this guy about trans people. I mean, realistically speaking, I think a straight guy would be more inclined to fuck this person than a gay guy. You know what I'm saying? If they're a trans woman, you know what I'm saying? I think that speaks a lot about that person's identity. So
Wednesday, yesterday, they came to me and they said, you know what? My pronouns are they, them. I want you in the class to use they, them. Okay, cool, great.
Now we're going to get to the concerned dad who gets told to shut the f up at the...
All right, again, like if the student came to them and said use these pronouns, then like I don't know what to tell you. I mean, as long as the teacher's not going around saying you should call yourself they, them. You know, like whatever. I mean, I guess it's uncomfortable, but these people exist. I don't know what to tell you. Like, just tell your kids, hey, some people exist, and maybe you think they're weird. I don't know. I think it's fun. You know, I don't know. But I don't think that these are instances of like kids getting groomed by teachers. I think that these are teachers that a lot of people would go like, oh, like, listen, no offense, that person looks a little weird to me, but I don't think that my kid's gonna be gonna turn trans because they're like trans in some capacity. I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
School board meeting, but they say we're not.
But they sat down and like tried to brainwash, like sat down and they're like, you're a girl. You're really a girl. Oh, you like one thing that's feminine? You're a girl. Your name is Brittany now. Ah! Like if they did that and maybe they beat them or something, like I'd be like, okay. You know, if they're young and they're teaching about trans shit, I might be like, hey, listen, my kid, not trans shit. I'm not transphobic. Well, maybe. Well, no, I'm not transphobic. Sorry, you know, that might have been a little transphobic. Yeah, maybe you should wait till your kids are older, maybe like 14 or something, 16. That's probably, you know, maybe when you should learn about it because it's a little complicated, and I wouldn't want to confuse a kid going through like the development cycle. Obviously, you're better off identifying with the gender that identifies with that aligns with your biological sex because it'll be less confusing. Nobody wants to be trans. Like every trans person's like, I wish I was born a girl or I wish I was born a boy. Nobody's like, yeah, I'm really happy. Like, they're like, yeah, this is the best. This is okay. That's the point that you get to. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I wouldn't want necessarily to confuse my kid. You know, let them. I would hope my kids aren't trans. If they are, I'll love them. But you know,
doing anything. We're not grooming your kid. Exhibit 1, 2, 1,000, Your Honor. They never end, these people.
Well,
They come to class today.
Those wouldn't be examples of grooming, but okay.
There's names on desks in groups for assigned seats. They can't find theirs because I guess my first class knocked it off. So I go to the class. Hey, is she in anyone's group? Does anyone see her name?
Yeah, that would be normal because if you see someone female, you're going to assume nearly all of the time they go by she. That's normal behavior.
It took me 5 minutes to realize what I did.
So where I work, everybody was...
Okay. I mean, like, you should talk to trans people about, like, respectively setting the boundary of what their pronouns are. As long as people are being respectful back. Like, I talked with, like, an older trans man the other day. And they're like, yeah, I understand, like, people dead name me and misgender me on accident sometimes. And as long as they're respectful, I guess whatever. It's like, okay. I just, you know, you correct them. Now, if they could insist on being a shithead, yeah. But, like, you know, you can't be that sensitive if somebody unintentionally does it.
Just subscribe.
Unless, it probably sucks, but, you know, you need to be a little stronger. You're trans, that doesn't mean that you're not a person. Like, you need to be a little strong. If somebody accidentally does it, you know, respectfully, you'll be like, oh, well, this is my pronoun. They don't listen then, probably just going to want to disconnect because that person's a fucking scumbag. What's this?
Really receptive. They wanted to learn more about it.
Minutes to realize what I did.
So where I...
Have you been met with resistance from schools when teaching gender-inclusive language in the classroom? What does that mean?
Work, everybody was really receptive. They wanted to learn more about it. It's been a slow process.
They didn't really want to learn about it. They were kind of stuck. They played along to be nice. It's the new thing. They don't want to get...
Well, I don't know if you know that for a fact. Maybe they actually do care, but okay. Like, I know people want to pretend everybody's just virtue signaling. But maybe they are just nice. I would just say, hey, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Is like you could just not care and disengage from the conversation. That's how most conservatives work. Like, yeah, okay. Most conservatives, they don't really give a shit about anything about you. You know, not in a bad way. You know, like I'm not trying to have a personalized conversation with some fucking person that I like. Hey, can you give me a couple scoops of ice cream? Yeah. By the way, my name is Marissa. Don't care. Don't talk to me. I don't care what your name is. Give me my fucking ice cream. You know what I'm saying? That's how I am. Probably progressives the same way.
canceled, but no one really gives a shit, honey.
But they're learning more and they're integrating it. And this is across languages, so I feel super lucky. However, I know.
Oh, wait a second. This is Rich. This is a.
And this is across languages, so I feel super lucky. However, I know.
Oh, wait a second. This is Rich. This is across languages. So do you think the new Honduran migrant who comes over here is really excited about how
And this is across
the new thing? They don't want to get canceled, but no one really gives a shit, honey.
But they're learning more and they're integrating it. And this is across languages, so.
Oh, I guess other languages are integrating it. I don't know. Maybe.
I feel super lucky. However, I know.
Oh, wait a second. This is Rich. This is across languages. So do you think the new Honduran migrant who comes over here.
You notice how he said migrant?
This is Rich. This is across languages. So do you think the new Honduran migrant.
He's referring to them as like an illegal immigrant. Like even when he's talking about people from Honduras, he has to make sure that it's a little bit racist. Like they can't, like it's just migrant. Okay, why? Why do you got to throw in everything? It's so weird, dude. Why are you so obsessed for?
Who comes over here is really excited about having their young 8-year-old learn about non-binary drag queen story. I don't think so.
Well, that's not the case for a lot of people. All I can say is that try to talk to your teacher about it and explain to them that this is what non-binary people are doing in the language and that.
I don't give a shit about your made-up language. You can do whatever you want your made-up language.
I mean, everybody's language is made up, just so you know. But okay.
Language. That doesn't mean I'm participating in your fever dream. I'm going to hard pass on that one.
By not including.
Why is your dick hard?
Language like this in the classroom, it's making people who are non-binary.
If you don't want to engage in the language, just call them by their name. Like, oh, what's your name? I'm not going to say they, them. You just sound like that.
Or maybe you're non-binary and they don't know, feel unsafe, and that it's actually transphobic.
So you have to get the buzzwords in there because politicians need talking points.
That it's making people who are non-binary.
Pass on that one.
By not including language like this in the classroom, it's making people who are non-binary or maybe you're non-binary and they don't know, feel unsafe, and that it's actually transphobic.
So you have to get.
Maybe. I mean, they're saying if we don't teach these gender accepted pronouns and whatnot, it's transphobic. Doesn't make these people feel safe. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the only argument to that is that, if you actively are affirming of, like, pronouns, then people will be like, oh, this is a comfortable environment for me to exist in, I guess. I feel like it's really not that deep, but these are fucking kids. Kids don't really understand a lot of what's going on. So even if they're experiencing a feeling that would be considered, like, them being non-binary or trans when they get older, they don't quite understand the specifics of it, and it's good to let them explore it, I think, necessarily, rather than, like, force something onto it. But again, like I talked to this 40-year-old trans man the other day. It was very interesting. They were like, yeah, I always just kind of like felt the way, but it wasn't until I was educated on like trans stuff that I was like, oh, this makes sense. You know, it's very interesting. There's a lot of shit going on.
The buzzwords in there because politicians need talking points. Unsafe, transphobic. You see, get those two buzzwords in and then you're stuck. Their arguments are they just do a mic drop and say, what are you going to say to that one, buddy? Here's what I'm going to say. I don't care anymore. You people have taken this way too damn far. The teacher shrooming the kids is nonstop. We don't care anymore. We're done.
That they're excluding people's identity in the classroom and making them not feel safe when using that language. So that
no one's excluding your identity if they make a mistake. If you want to be called shim and
language, so that
no one's
well, they're not talking about
excluding your identity if they make a mistake. If you
They're not talking about a mistake. They're specifically like talking about like teaching in the classroom to create a comfortable environment. But okay,
you want to be called shim, and we know it. The teacher's going to call you that.
It's funny that he's talking about how everything's a buzzword, and then he uses the word grooming as if that's not a buzz. You're buzzwording as well. You're all fucking disingenuous fucks, right? If you want to say, what's the better word for it? Indoctrinating maybe would be better. I still think that's a buzzword. I think it's inflammatory. Yeah, I mean, it's like if I was just like, yeah, you're grooming kids into being into like Catholic schools. Like, oh, they're religious. You're grooming them into religion. You know what I mean? Like everything's grooming now. But like, why would I do that? It's crazy.
No one cares. But these people are so damn sensitive. You can never get it right. You may
like grooming is like a deep, methodical process of setting a child up for sexual exploitation. You know, like rape. It's not. Oh, you might be a they them. Like it's not. That's not the same thing. You could think it's inappropriate. That's fine. You know, there's a whole conversation I have about that when it comes to like young kids because they can be impressionable, and I think it might be good to be like, you know, not to be too suggestive, but to sit here and say like it's grooming. I mean, you're using a buzzword.
May look at them wrong and say you were sexualizing me, you weren't sexualizing me, you should sexualize me.
That's all I can say. It's really difficult if people are resistant to it. But
tonight I'm going to give a sampling from 3 books that are in our libraries: the Fleming School and the Oakley School, and then we can discuss. You can discuss the process by which these books get on the shelves, because there's a Clay County employee that got paid to put this book, Lucky, by Alice Sebold. I'm going to read things. If there's children watching, Cover their ears.
That's the first mistake. The book is in the children's section. Just start reading it. Let the public know what's in the book, because these people are going to hide this. They don't want to take responsibility, number one, because they don't know what's in the library. There's some lunatic from the federal government pushing these to libraries because they get federal funds. That's how this works.
All right, so this is a book from 1999. The only reason I'm saying that is because, like, it might have, like, really inappropriate passages. I mean, I don't know how many times I said the N-word in school because I was told to read it out loud. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is that it sounds like these things were implemented in school systems like 20 years ago, and you're just finding out about it now. And then you're trying to tie it into like the LGBTQ narrative or whatever, when it's like probably something that should have never been in as a book. But it kind of slipped through the cracks like 20 years ago before people even knew what the fuck any of this shit was, you know?
But what we do is we make the school boards defend the position. Why is this book in the library? After you've read the disgusting depravity you're showing to 4-year-olds, let them make their case for it. Why are we making the case that it shouldn't be in the library? Let them make the case why it should be in the library.
He began to...
I'm going to stop you right there, sir. I'm going to stop you right there.
Inserted his fingers into it.
Turn the microphone off.
Turn off his microphone, please.
Why?
I've told you I'm stopping you. The reason I'm stopping you is...
I'm going to stop you right there, buddy, because I'm a public servant. I own you. I control you. Even though I should be serving the public, you serve...
I think you should get a chance to speak, obviously. So I looked into it. So Lucky is what they had mentioned. This is what it's called. It's a 1999 memoir by American novelist Alex Sabod, best known as the author of the novel The Lovely Bones. Lucky describes her experience of being raped and beaten when she was 18. Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be considered inappropriate, but it's a conversation we need to have. It sounds like, when she was 18 in a tunnel near Syracuse University when she was a student, and how this traumatic experience shaped the rest of her life. That's really horrible. I don't know how old these kids are that they had mentioned. I don't think that they mentioned. I doubt a 4-year-old is reading this. But this is important literature. It's about like the horrible nature of being raped. I don't know. I feel like that's something that people should learn. It's really interesting because like they're even talking about removing. I didn't talk to my mother about it. They want to remove like World War II books because it's really offensive content. Learning about like Jewish people being killed. It's like, yeah, it is. That's why you need to learn it as a kid. Because it's fucked up and the world's fucked up and history will repeat itself if you decide to like shy away from this stuff. So in the midst of a conversation about sexual assault culture that we have in the United States, like, yeah, read a book about a woman being raped. And if it upsets you, good. I'm not trying to be fucking rude. But like, that's the fucked up part of life, man. So, you know?
Me, buddy, I'm
yeah, it's fun. Actually, very interesting. I think every high school student has seen 13 Reasons Why. Their argument would be that like it wasn't school sanctioned, but yeah.
Government.
Because these meetings are, if you'll hush your mouth for a minute and listen instead of just talking, you know, you learn something. The problem is, sir, is these meetings are broadcast. There are people at home that are watching it on YouTube. There are people that are watching it on community television. Are you gonna...
Let's start off with, he hasn't heard what the guy's going to say, but the book's in the public library in the children's section. You think they go...
What does that mean in the children's section? Like, I just don't, I don't think that that's true at all. First of all, I think the guy should be able to speak. If it's a book that you are sanctioning as a school and it says something provocative, then you should pull it. If you're so offended that you won't let people listen to an excerpt of it, then you probably shouldn't be letting kids read it. That's my first thing. Second of all, I think that maybe the kids should be able to read it just based on what I've heard. Third, I doubt it was in the children's section. It might have been like the young adult section. It might have been in like, you know, I doubt that it was like, yeah, here guys, this is for 10-year-olds. Like, no, like it's probably something that's like maybe even recommended for like 16-year-olds to read. But either way, it seems like was it recommended to read, or is it inside of the library? Those are two different things also. It just seems like we're pearl clutching right now over a conversation about the book that you probably didn't even look into, which is you not doing your due diligence.
Go, let me read it. Okay, we love this. This is okay. Defend your position, school board. Tell us why the book should be in there versus me having to say why it shouldn't be in there. Let them make the case for it. Let them die on that hill.
Listen, you got to run your mouth, and you'll get it back. But you'll get it back to talk about something besides reading pornography into a public television set.
Well, if you think it's pornography, your kids probably shouldn't be reading it. So I think that you have a very bad understanding of what he's going to talk about.
Well, let me explain something to you. There are federal and state laws that prohibit you from saying the things.
The guy can't read the book in the library because the school board just said it was pornography. They haven't heard the book. Why aren't they just justifying
the school board's not helping
their position? Yes, we should teach children about oral magic when they're 4 because it's important. We should teach them about how things go up the rear O-ring because that's important.
Who the fuck's advocating for that? There's like probably, I mean, if there are books like that out there, like, yeah, those are obviously bad. Who's defending that? This is not that.
That's our case.
This is about an 18-year-old girl getting raped and her sharing her experience. I don't really know what you're on about.
Stick by it. They won't tell you. They obfuscate it and say things like loving, safe space, phobic, and then people stand back. Let them make their case. Bring it to the attention of everybody. They say this is important that we should teach 4-year-olds about rear O-ring entrance.
That you're getting ready to say on television. There are state laws that prohibit and federal communications laws that prohibit you from publishing these things to a child. You don't have the ability at this point to determine who's watching the television show. And for you to say, everybody cover your ears, just doesn't cut it.
Doesn't cut it, bro. I'm a public servant. I'm in charge of you. So shut your damn mouth. We're running our meeting. We don't care what's in the public library. We're not going to offend it. We're going to come up with little rules of order to shut you down so you can't read what's
Is it a public library or is it a kids or is it a school library? Wait, this is getting weirder and weirder.
In the public library for children.
You go to, if you go to.
Wait, this was just in a public library? I doubt that if it was even in the children's section, it was a mistake then. Wait, what are you talking about? Wait, I'm so confused. What did I miss? Wait, what? Hold on. Wait, give me 2 seconds.
If people are resistant to it, but
tonight I'm going to give a sampling from 3 books that are in our libraries: the Fleming School and the.
Okay, so it's inside of a school library.
But
tonight I'm going to give a sampling from 3 books that are in our libraries: the Fleming School and the Oakley School.
Hold on. What age are people in the Fleming School? Like how old are these kids? It's just inside of a school. He's not saying if it's a middle school or a high school.
Sampling from 3 books that are in our libraries: the Fleming School and the Oakley School.
I don't know what that means, but the Fleming and Oakley School, like, okay. I mean, they're in a school. It doesn't mean that they're recommended to children or they're even in a children's section.
Cover your ears, just doesn't cut it.
Doesn't cut it, bro. I'm a public servant. I'm in charge of you. So shut your damn mouth.
Your high school was attached to a public library? That's interesting.
We're running our meeting. We don't care what's in the public library. We're not going to offend it. We're going to come up with little rules of order to shut you down so you can't read what's in the public library for children.
You go to, if you go to.
You know, the library is for more than just children. So, you know, it's usually like a place to go for people to be able to read books and without having to pay for them, you know, for people that may not have like money.
Television, and you look before anything that comes on that's offensive, they have it graded as R, NC-17.
This jackass is going to give people an FCC lecture. Here's the thing.
Wait, hold on.
Is R. You go to television and you look before.
Give people an FCC lecture. Here's the thing. Let them justify their position. Why should this type of depravity, pornography, be in a school library in the children's section?
If you think that of a book about I mean, that person also misspoke, but if you guys really, you don't even know what the book's about. Like, this is the problem with this guy, is that he didn't even do his due diligence and go, okay, let me look up what this book is about. It's a memoir about a woman getting raped. I don't know what you're talking about. And you're sitting here, you're pretending like you don't even know what the book is about. It's not pornography. It's like, I think that there's the reason that the book exists is because people like you have no understanding of anything.
Let them die on that hill. Here's how you effectuate change. You read exactly what's in the book. You let them justify their position.
Okay.
Why are we justifying why it shouldn't be? And let them justify why it should be in the kids section of the library. Because these people...
the kids section of the library? What are you talking about? It's just in the library.
Don't want to bring to light their depravity, their lack of a moral compass, because they'll lose power. Let them justify their sickness.
Okay, well,
You just have to flood.
nobody said anything about in the kid chill. I'm going to listen to this part one more time.
That's normal behavior.
Cool. And then we can discuss, you can discuss the process. 3 books that are in our libraries: the Fleming School and the Oakley School. And then we can discuss, you can discuss the process by which these books get on the shelves, because there's a Clay County employee that got paid to put this book, Lucky, by Alice Sebold. I'm going to read things if there's children watching.
Okay, so nobody said it was in the children's section at any point. They said it was in a library, possibly attached to a school, maybe even a school library. And the book is about a woman's experience with being sexually assaulted. This guy's really dumb. I'm so tired of people like this. Everybody, like, everything's a buzzword. Everything's just a fucking buzzword, dude. It's annoying and pathetic. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank Thank you very much, guys. Take care.